Hello, everybody. This is Ram Prakash speaking on the subject of rejigging approaches for post-COVID construction scenarios. As a preamble, all post-COVID constructions will strongly depend upon rejigging of all existing approaches, dogmas, systems, and use of the young and eager genre of India, both urban and rural. Just like how the pandemic has changed age-old idiosyncrasies, social responsibilities, economic outlook, pertinent norm changes, and technological imperatives which are the need of the hour. The analysis of the parameters is attempted on the micro and macro scale. On the macro scale, social, economic, norm changes, and technological is handled. And on the micro scale, technology shifts for post-COVID catch-up and takeoff is handled. Now let's first deal with the macro scale. On the macro scale, in the social aspects, the following are the parameters to be considered. One is the disturbed and widely dispersed original skilled workers possibly to be reckoned with. Next is tackling of worker reluctance, resistance to go back to old work and living scenarios, and wanting a rejigged approach. Next is the wanting by preference back to rural living with kith and kin and enjoying together whatever the spoils. The next aspect is the offshoot is of seeking changed outlook to earning and living. And next one will be the possibly resulting in small entrepreneurship. There's a possibility that new entrepreneurs will come on the rural side. Now, skill development and upgrade at doorstep via webinar modules is possible and maybe need of the hour. Continuing on the social scale, necessities will be easily connected by digital systems and tech-savvy mobiles and service platforms. One needs to be having the facility to be easily connected by digital systems, tech-savvy mobiles and service platforms from wherever. All changes integrated with agriculture cultivation, which may be a parallel operation with other members of kith and kin. This is also an outlook change, which is likely to be the scenario. Then there needs to be incubator backups of object-driven management groups, motivating result-oriented and tech-savvy growth at micro levels, and health centers and health insurances made practical, made nearby, and down to earth, as well as friendly. On the economic side, in the macro scale, the following will be required. One would be the prioritized finance approach, imbibing fast course corrections without bureaucracy in a hands-on way and at the optimum and crucial juncture. Next is the micro-managerial systems, imbibing result-oriented action plans. Then there would be proposals and forays imbibing solutions having minimum infra requirements. The attitude will be to be an entrepreneur with minimum infra requirements. Then there is the aspect of elimination of unwanted middlemen, which will come in, which is a good development. Only assistance for the uninitiated needs to be positioned, and facilities of cross-country, eased and friendly bank facilities on the digital basis, which is going to be the norm. And banking and payments at doorstep and digital is one of the key issues which might help the environment to benefit. On-hand dispute resolution systems and personnel with real fast judgment portrayals need to be at hand. Then on the macro scale, one has to think about the norm changes. The following norm changes are likely to be the scenario. One is work from home and its vicinity and flexible working hours. This is one of the things that is going to kick in. Next is the service bureaus to service rejig digital systems and equipments, which will be the umbilical cord which connects the world to the local scenario. Rural homebound talented women stepping into development and as backup genre and in entrepreneurship and lead roles. It's quite possible that the women are stepping into the entrepreneurship as well as the lead roles. Environment creation for direct involvement of rural and urban women craving for knowledge, skills, adding to the workforce and talent. There is a big eagerness to pick up skill sets by the women, which will be served by these changes. Women education and upliftment fostered by funding and placing women organizations. This can be with women organizations which will be formed by themselves or by the organizations. Idlers will be roped in for possibilities as a possibility, making rural genre purposeful and rewarded, if not healthy too. The idlers would be motivated to see progress and would want to take part in them. Family and joint family life strengthened and allowed to share the achievements and accolades is one of the developments that is likely to take place in this revised scenario. Entertainment and sports in electronic mode at doorstep and in beck and call incubates artistic, sport, and health initiatives. And then on the macro scale, technology is one of the issues that would come in. What are the changes that might be required, which will come in, are modular design and construction as a norm than an exception. Modular design is one of the key factors that is missing in the first generation of designs in India. And it is likely that modular designs and construction will be a norm in the future. Ease of construction and back of mind at design stage and planning stage. It will not be a separate entity that design is separate and construction is separate. Ease of construction at back of mind will govern the design stage. Simplifying of systems for transportation, handling, and erection. This will be a big ask that transportation systems are rejigged to handle and erect different scenarios that are likely to crop up. Doubly fast and real fast-paced construction will be need of the hour. The person who, the genre which serves to do real fast-paced construction and will stand out in this scenario. Next, on the road tax and vehicle tax, etc., needs to be incentivized, subsidized, and augmented, if not dispensed with, for comfortable transportation of materials and components. For too long, it has been that transportation would be a key factor, that there will not be growth in the outer circles compared to the requirement. Modular design in services with intelligent systems showcasing easy turnaround repair modules will be the need of the hour. Much of the repairs would always be needed to be on the modular basis, so that there is a quick turnaround in case of downtimes. Next generation recycle and reuse of water, including maybe compulsory drip irrigation to plant life, environment savvy growth will be required. Renewable energy at all rooftops will be dispensing with losses of transmission and distribution thereon. One example to use would be the German example of longitudinal and across pipes in roads for services at every 15 meters or so of the longitudinal dimension of the road is one of the key issues to avoid problems whenever there are issues with respect to both plumbing as well as electricity. Integration of multimodal transport is a key factor, and dedicated cycle and busways will be a reality for a healthy living. Continuing on the macro scale with respect to technology, small and medium mechanized manufacture and dedicated clusters in satellite towns and akin to infra, as in auto spare parts manufacture, should come into construction and will be coming in. USA-like approach to house construction, including modular approach, do-it-yourself initiative, have Home Depot-like setups, and a supply chain giving multitude of choices is the one that is being craved about in India, which is going to come in the new scenario. And Singapore-like tenders, where maintenance for 10 years after construction is must in the tenders, will motivate sustainability in design. Project 4 is, as of the Mumbai type, where 55 flyovers were built in 3 years with a ruthlessly down-to-earth and imposingly workable approach. This is a classic example of what is going to happen in the new scenario in India, where Mumbai has set the first foot forward. And next is the China-like approach, where cost is nearly secondary. Only time, innovation, and international standards govern. Much of China has imbibed this to come up in the last decade to international standards in the bomb, which is definitely going to come in, because once too often, so many things govern to disrupt any progress. And it is a question of time that this is going to come in right now. The young ones will do all of above as their countrymen peers have done abroad. The example for the young ones of the present is of the peers who have done it abroad and proved that they are a cut above anybody by their example. Now let's switch over to the micro scale. On the micro scale, following our technology shifts for post-COVID catch-up and takeoff. First, on the infrastructure and its systems. Infrastructure imperatives will spring up involving local and multi-grid-like connectivity of roads, if not also of trains and air travel, air cargo transit, etc., on an affordable basis with pertinent ease of maneuverability and carriage of large and various sized containers and component parts. This is likely to be the norm in the near future. Will result in new and different early realization ideas, methods, and completion. It will rejig the whole idea of achievability and the realization of ideas, methods, as well as completion. Transport vehicles and systems will result, and mobility will be the undercurrent and watchword, just like how JCBs transform the digging and handling of earth requirements. in the first generation. Railways will be having exclusive freight corridor in the quadrilateral of infrastructure, and trains will have dedicated high-speed lines as possible, following the same network or otherwise. To create these, they will use the apex court mandate of compulsive acquisitions, etc., which brought a sea change to infrastructure. More metros will follow the underground network design, irrespective of cost, so that the ground ambience and the environment don't interfere on its development. Continuing on the micro scale with respect to infrastructure and its systems, country will mandate the necessary cost, as it will be only a one-time foray and investment. For too long, the gospel has been, where is the money, where is the fund going from, and things of the kind, which has put off the pace of progress. Now, no longer. It will the country will be mandated, do the necessary cost, take the necessary cost, as it will be only once in a life, once in a night, as it will be only a one-time foray and investment. The approach will be different. Will result in dynamic hands-on talents, use of new material, and international flavor to infrastructure at par or excelling international achievements. This is one of the things that is coming to come into play. Next, on the micro scale, we should look at the lifting and vertical transporting systems. Just like the first generation of lifting tower cranes and winches, second generation systems will result, including doubling of them due to lesser human availability and due to more demanding delivery. It is likely that most of the handling systems will have to be doubled or appended to handle the current scenario of the future, scenario of the near future. Many design and manufacturing concepts and realities will result, including Philip to Make in India initiatives. Because of this lifting and handling situations, many initiatives will develop. Then we come to the aspect of large integrated and near finished component development. Just like how the Type A1 tower was built, multiple floors of a building or facility would be finished at factory or at ground level and transported to position with large capacity tower cranes and concepts to achieve double progress. Type A1 in Taipei was one of the things which had 2 floors of a multi-story building being assembled in a factory, taken, flown by helicopters to the top of the building and added one upon the other with a augmented tower crane in the middle, which could handle in the midst of traffic. This example will be followed in many places to augment the manufacture of floor-wise components. Built environment will see large panel construction for factories, warehouses, offices, malls, and low-rise hospital facilities. Large panel construction is just moved in, but it will be the norm of the future. Easily handleable heavy-duty machinery, thoughts and requirements will result. Integration of mechanical systems and the construction civil systems will become the norm of the future. Continuing on the micro scale, with respect to changes in construction components, the first generation PEB systems will be augmented by second generation PEB systems for multi-story buildings and facilities, resulting in enormous speed, rigidity, and larger spans. Also, formwork-free columns, form-free deck sheet supported concrete floors result, boosting the steel industry and bringing steel construction costs to lower levels. Once the industry is boosted by demand, the costs are likely to come down. The difference between the steel and concrete construction would come down, and the speed will make up for the value engineering. Use of composite construction will result in corrosion-protected steel buildings for coastal and water-prone places, if not everywhere. Composite construction, composite construction is going to be coming in a large way in most of the construction as a parallel to steel construction. Precast panel walls with necessary finishes integrated will be on demand in multi-floor buildings. Precast panel walls quicken the finishing of the floors and the construction of multi-story building, which will come in and will be the norm of the future. Larger sized, lesser weighted precast blocks will sprout in external and internal walls and partitions. Lightweight precast concrete blocks or precast blocks will result and would be a requirement. No longer will it be a small component issue. The precast blocks will all be a large component issue with lesser weight and things of kind, such that handling is easy and use also is extensive. Interiors with noise-proof drywall partitions will be used in a large scale, as against masonry walls. Paver blocks, curbstones, drains, etc. will be made with polymer concrete and cementless, hence curingless. Adhesives will replace conventional systems. Paver blocks, etc. have all been bonded together with cement mortars. Now the norms are going to be that polymer concrete is likely to come in and replace them, and the bonding is with adhesives which need no curing. Even water permeable pavers would be in large demand. The recent developments of water permeable pavers would come in both with respect to regular concrete pavers as well as polymer concrete, as use of polymer concrete. Going on the micro scale further, in pre-stressed concrete, pre-stressing wires would be replaced by higher grade steels having more elongation controls and could be used parallelly with FRP cables. This is likely to be the next generation in pre-stressed cables, which is likely to come in. Simpler anchorages will result, and material technology will be replaced by lesser members having creep and shrinkage, etc. This is the cry of pre-stressed concrete that changes with respect to anchorages and material technology is likely to be the change of the future. External pre-stressing will be in large demand for its use and reliably efficient grouting aspect. External pre-stressing is a next generation growth in pre-stress, which will bring in ease and reliably efficient grouting aspect, which was suspect in some of the cases in pre-stressed concrete. Use of much higher grades of concrete and slender sections and larger spans, likely with multi-grade flyovers. This is one of the possibilities which is likely to govern in the near future. On the micro scale again, we look at design and construction. Extensive use of modular designs will be imposed to simplify construction and manufacture of subsystems and components. As I said earlier, modular designs are the need of the hour, and they need to be brought in on a large scale, with majority following the modular systems. Fillip will be given to creative designers who bring out easier way of achieving the targets and construction. The persons who will survive are the persons who are creative designers who bring out easier way of achieving the targets and construction. Assemblages with component ideas will be preferred to cope with the reduction, if any, of available manpower. The assemblages with component ideas will be preferred to cope with the reduction of any of available manpower. This will all be bridged with respect to reduction in manpower by assemblages in design. Continuing on design, new claddings will result like intelligent ones using the solar radiations, intelligent heat sensitized exteriors, etc. This is likely to come in. New generations of researchers will result in all research institutions to give backup to the need of the hour in all matters of design, construction, etc. Most research groups will be online with respect to construction and design as a forerunner to growth. No longer issues in the built environment will be in disarray and haphazard. All will be only result oriented, like in the IT sector approaches, resulting in smart design, construction, and economy. Integration of the different groups is going to be the necessity and is likely to be the scenario. What is difficult for a civil engineer is easy for a mechanical engineer, and what is difficult for a mechanical engineer is easy for a civil engineer, as well as the same with services and systems. This is likely to change the built environment. Teamwork will be the answer to the challenge after COVID recovery, just like in the IT sector. In the IT sector, teamwork is the byword. And here again, teamwork will be the answer to all the challenges. Now on the micro scale, let us see on the services. All systems in plumbing, electrical, and firefighting will be more smart and modular with smart meters, controls, and fire prevention and dowsing facilities, efficacy. Water treatment, reuse, and zero waste concepts will kick in urgently. Water will be a very costly resource in the near future because of its misuse, which will all be plugged. System automation will be the norm than the exception. Automation in the various or automation systems in the various services will be the norm than the exception. Flood control and maintenance and monitoring of water bodies and their upkeep will be mandated. No longer will the flood affect the progress and growth if all these are put in. Continuing on the micro scale, there are general factors which are going to come in. One is regulatory bodies will have highly knowledgeable and practically friendly genre, so they can partner and boost innovation and achievement in all sectors. It will not be a compartmentalized outlook. The regulatory bodies will have highly knowledgeable and practically friendly personnel, so that they will also be a part of the innovation and achievement in all sectors. Crop of senior peer reviewers, like as in Singapore, will be invited to assist from practicing professionals, having minimum 20 to 25 years in practice in each field. In Singapore, the norm is to have the peer review mandated by persons who have had practice of more than 20 to 25 years. This is a healthy development to see the prevention of failures, which will walk into Indian's construction scenario. Deterrent systems and quick punishment to the corrupt will be in place to achieve the aims of quick development and change. No longer will be put up with a lot of corrupt practices. Deterrent systems and quick punishment will come in. Municipal bodies will function like the corporate, consisting of authorities who are highly educated in each subject and would continue to develop by resorting to periodical courses and training. Many of the municipal bodies did not know the word of periodical skill development and training, and it was secondary to them. But it will no longer be so in the future. The government will most likely change to the once propounded banking transaction tax system of taxing, not only in order to ensure easy and definite collection for development, but also to help in ease of business principles to come anywhere near the need of the nation. There was a proposition by a group of enlightened chartered accountants from, I believe, Pune, who have given a wonderful system called the banking transaction tax system, which gets more collection and is much simpler and is less hurting, because the tax base will improve from present standards of few crores to the multitude, and it would not harm them too. The coastal authorities need to review compulsorily every standard once in maybe 3 years, like in all countries which have developed as planned or more. The coastal authorities earlier were very averse to changes in the codes. Now, no longer. I think with changes every 3 years is coming in, and it is being mandated shortly. And this will benefit the upgradation of construction. With this, I salute the new genre for having the capacity, but the skill set wherewithal will be imbibed, but the largest of some of the experience were performed at home or abroad. The new genre is going into the aspect of skill development, as can be seen in the multitude of webinars which has gone not only cross country, but it has gone cross international, with the participants from all the international countries sharing head to head, hand to hand with the Indians, and the benefit will be the construction sector. I salute the new genre for having the zeal and the capacity, but the skill set wherewithal will be imbibed, but the largest of some of the experienced who have performed at home or overseas and who are ready to hand the baton of gritty experiences and changes incorporated from the multitude of achievements in adverse circumstances. Previous generations have worked in adverse circumstances and delivered. These people have an ocean of experience on how to handle problems in construction towards development. And this will be the norm of the hand. It will be handy for the new genre, for having the zeal and for the new genre, which is having the zeal and the capacity. With this, I conclude. In the conclusion, the following points should be considered. For achieving the hot gospel of recovery, the nation has to mandate changes here and now, as it is at the crossroads, and it will. Lot of norm changes, changes in approach, changes in attitude, changes in systems will be needed, because we are at the crossroads and change is coming. Country has to decide whether to recover and take off to survive, or fall into the quagmire of uncertainty and helplessness and slip into the world of the uncertain. This is what is the bane of all the approaches that are needed and will come in. The genre of the nation has fully realized that it has no option but to not only take a turn, but also to call out the dogmas, the snail-type impractical world of thoughts and for development and growth. The genre of the nation has realized this aspect. The resource of the large, vibrant young of the nation knows that if they work on the archaic attitudes, principles, and environments of the past, they can not only survive like the Indian counterparts who have pushed up the Western countries by their prowess, but also create an India of their dreams, which their parents would be proud of, and India would then come back to the glorious heritage and living of the ancient past. All are now sure of the aim and convinced of the capacity to not only survive from the pandemic, but also to take center stage in the community of nations of the world. Thank you.